Hey YouTube, Michael here. Nice to meet you. Just kidding. But seriously, my name is Michael. And I'm trying to start this new YouTube channel I'm going to call Michael, the Millennial, Off the Cuff. What I'm going to do is talk off the cuff to my loyal YouTube followers about whatever happens to be going on that I saw in the news today that I feel like I have to comment on. I already talked to myself as it is, so I figure, well, if I'm talking, I might as well film it and then put it on YouTube. Maybe I can get famous and I won't have to go to work on Monday. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about, just jump right in here, is the new tax plan, because it affects all of us and it seems to be hot right now, so maybe I'll get some clicks that way. But I was seriously, I was talking to a guy on Reddit, and he was under the impression that it was a bad plan for business, and I am under the impression that it isn't. So I was trying to explain to him why it's maybe or maybe not it's the right thing to do as far as the country's concerned. We can debate about that, but specifically how the corporate tax rate was dropped to 25%, I believe, is a good thing for business. All right, now let me premise this by telling you a little bit about myself now. I am an engineer at a company. We make batteries. And one of the things my job entails is to do economic analyses of different projects to kind of figure out what we're going to do, right? Because, I mean, in a business, right, you don't do anything in a business unless it makes money. So, and I happen to be working on one right about this time, so I figured, I'd save that and I'll use that in a video to kind of talk about it and illustrate my point, because I was trying to text it to him over the chat thing on Reddit, and it really wasn't coming out right because I feel like I'm not good over texting. The major metric for determining whether or not a project is going to move forward is net present value. Now, I'm not going to do a economics refresher here. Maybe I'll make another set of videos about economics. I probably will. But for now, all you need to know about net present value is it's essentially, imagine like reaching into the future and bringing money back and then having it today, minus inflation. That's what your net present value is. One of the things that affects net present value is the tax rate. The tax rate is currently at 35% for corporations, and that's what accounting tells me to use in my calculations. So that's what I use. The new plan has the tax rate going to 25%. Now, what that means is that suddenly companies are having 10% more money to do with. But what that means in terms of the economic analysis is that projects that were previously either not money makers or they didn't bring enough money, we call that internal rate of return. You don't have to worry about what that is right now. But basically, projects that don't at least meet that threshold, now with the new tax law, they might be bumped up into that threshold. So now suddenly, a lot of more projects make economic sense to do, which spurs investment. What that investment means for us is that now there's more money floating around, there's more jobs potentially being given. Usually investment follows some sort of jobs. Let's say GE, let's say, has a project that they want to do that suddenly makes economic sense. Now they're going to introduce a new product line. And well, what does that mean? That means they might have to hire a third shift to work this line, or they might have to build an entire new factory for this. Or, I mean, even if they don't have to add any more employers, maybe they need a new machine. Where does that machine come from? It comes from another factory. And what that factory does, maybe suddenly that factory is getting more work and they have to hire more people. I mean, it's just a simple economics thing that investment equals jobs generally. Very rarely is that not the case, and especially kind of at the corporate manufacturing level, it usually translates to jobs, which is a good thing. I mean, that's what our economy needs really to get going, is jobs, well-paying jobs. I mean, so people don't have to work in fast food. But that's what I was trying to explain to this guy, and he was under the impression that that's not the case. Businesses, the tax rate doesn't affect businesses like this, and I don't know where he was coming from with this, honestly. I mean, if you've had an economics class, you know that's not the case. but I understand it's hard listening to me talk about this. So I have the spreadsheet I used. I'm going to have a quick demonstration on that, just kind of show you what I'm talking about so that everyone can be a bit more informed about what this new tax rate means.
Hey everybody, here we are at the spreadsheet. Sorry my voice sounds a little differently. I have a cheap microphone I use for computer gaming. But anyway, here you can see the economic analysis. Each die is going to be about $2,000. We need 4 of them, so that's an $8,000 investment. So these boxes in the gray down here are the net present value calculations. So I have it broken up by month for the first year and then just by year after that. That's because we do a different amount of plate shearing every month, so it varies. So I wanted to capture that variation in there. As you can see, at the end of the first year, the net present value is negative $3,800. So that means at the end of the first year, we haven't recouped all our money yet, and that's totally normal. Most places don't have anywhere near a one-year net present value. If you look at the 5-year, we're seeing a $7,856, which is 34.46% IRR, which is good. That's very good. So anyway, so here's the tax rate. Now watch what happens to the net present value when I change that to 25%. You see that? It just went up by $2,000. Out of 5 years, you see you got an extra $2,000 from this investment. Now what that means when you're doing multi-million-dollar jobs is that you're suddenly going from way short to we need to do this right away. And then that's what's going to create a lot of the economic incentive in jobs that this administration is really hoping happens.
So that was the first video. I'm going to try and make them shorter from now on. I know this kind of went a little longer than I wanted to. But, the name of these videos is Off the Cuff. And what that means is I'm just sitting in this chair talking. I'm not really scripting anything out. I don't have any necessarily agenda to what I'm saying. I just happen to see something on the news and I think to myself, I have some comments on that. I would like to say them. I think people might listen to what I have to say. So I'm going to try and keep them around the 5-minute mark in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hope to see you next week when I'm talking about something else.